Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Okay, so we'll start with our prayer. Okay, anybody would like to sing today? Yes, from Govinda Damodar.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can sing, Prabhuji. If nobody is there, I can sing. Shall I start, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna. त्वमेव याचे मम देहि जिह्वे समागते दण्डधरे कृतान्ते वक्तव्यमेवं मधुरं सुभक्त्या गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति भाजस्वमन्त्रं भवबन्धुमुक्त्या जिह्वे रसाग्ने सुलभं मनोज्ञम् द्वापायनद्वयैर्मुनिभिः प्रजाप्तं गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोपालवंशीधर रूप सिन्धो लोकेश नारायण दीनबन्धो उच्चास्वरैस्त्वं वद सर्वदैव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति जिह्वे सदैव भज भज सुन्दराणि नामानि कृष्णस्य मनोहराणि समस्तभक्तातिविन्यासनानि गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द गोविन्द हरे मुरारे गोविन्द गोविन्द मुकुन्द कृष्ण गोविन्द गोविन्द रत्नाङ्गपाणे गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति सुखावसाने त्वयिदमेव सारं दुःखावसाने त्वयिदमेव गेयं देहावासने त्वयिदमेव चाप्यं गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति दुर्वारवाक्यं परिग्रह्य कृष्ण मृगीव भीता तु कथं कथञ्चित् सभां प्रविष्टा मनुषा जुहाव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति श्रीकृष्ण राधा वर गोकुलेश गोपाल गोवर्धननाथ विष्णु जिह्वेऽपि भस्मामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति श्रीनाथ विश्वेश्वर विश्वमूर्ते श्रीदेवकी नन्दन दैत्यशत्रु जिह्वेऽपि भस्मामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोपीपते कंसरिपो मुकुन्द लक्ष्मीपते केशव वासुदेव जिह्वेऽपि भस्मामृतमेतदेव गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. Yes, so we've been reading this prayer for the last 5 weeks, and of course this Jivasvamritameta Deva, as we've been reading the translation of requesting our tongue to drink this nectar of the holy names. So today I thought instead of reading the translation, because I came across this verse from Srila Prabhupada, of course, from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So maybe we can read this one, and then we'll go to the reading of Prabhupada Lilamrita. So like we were saying, the importance of the holy names is glorified in this prayer, the bhajan that we are singing by Srila Bilwangal Thakur. Similarly, here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about this, the glories of the holy name. So he says, Eka Krishna Nama Kare Sarva Papa Kshaya Nava Veda Bhakti Purna Nama Haite Haya. Right. So what does Mahaprabhu says? He says, simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one is relieved from all the reactions of a sinful life. One can complete the 9 processes of devotional service simply by chanting the holy names. So we say, even one limb of bhakti, Shravanam or Kirtanam or Vishnu Smaranam, can take us back home, back to God. Prabhupada said that many times. And here Mahaprabhu is saying that by doing the Kirtan, by chanting the holy names of Krishna, all of those 9 processes of devotional service can be completed just by chanting the holy name. So that is the power of chanting. And it's kind of the same theme that we are seeing across generations. All pure devotees of the Lord, all Vaishnavas have said the same thing. And Mahaprabhu, of course, he came 500 years ago and he has given the same instruction. But Prabhupada says here in the purport, the 9 types of devotional service are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dastyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam, Iti Pumsharpita Vishnu, Bhaktish Chenava Kriyata Bhagavati Yadha, Tanmanye Ditam Uttamam. These are the activities of hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. As far as chanting the holy name of Krishna is concerned, one can be freed from all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name without committing offenses. If one chants offenselessly, he may be saved from all sinful reactions. It is very important in devotional service to chant the holy name of the Lord without committing offenses. The 9 devotional processes such as Shravana Kirtana can all be attained at once if one simply chants the holy name of the Lord offenselessly. In this regard, Srila Jiva Goswami states in his book Bhakti Sandarbha 173, Yadyapi anya bhakti kalau kartavya tada kirtanakya bhakti samayoge naiva. Out of the 9 processes of devotional service, Kirtan is very important. Srila Jiva Goswami therefore instructs that the other processes such as Archana, Vandana, Dasya, Sakya should be executed, but they must be preceded and followed by Kirtan, the chanting of the holy name. We have therefore introduced the system in all our centers. Archana, Arati, Bhoga offering, deity dressing, and decorations are all preceded and followed by chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, so that's how we see even at all our centers in ISKCON. We start the program with Kirtan, right? And then we'll have the Katha and then the Arati and Archana Prasadam. Or, at the end we'll again have Kirtan, right? So before Prasadam. So that's what Prabhupada is doing here. And we have been seeing as we are reading Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. So this is the same format Prabhupada has been following, right? In New York, he will have his morning Kirtan, then he'll have his class, and then again he'll have Kirtan. And even when he was at that yoga studio, Dr. Mishra, he was doing the same thing, at least when he was invited. He would do his Kirtan, then talk, and then again Kirtan. So it's a perfect transcendental sandwich. Everything is between Kirtan. Everything is between chanting the holy names. So that is the significance of chanting the holy names. So thank you for coming together in the morning and at the centers, and we chant the holy names. So we see after continuing from Prabhupada Leelamrit, Prabhupada yesterday is going to start another round of Kirtan festival in San Francisco. He's now just like Tompkins Square Park. He's now in the park in San Francisco and with his disciples, and they had already started Kirtan, and Prabhupada is now for the first time using Balaramji has come all the way from India in form of clay mridanga, and Prabhupada is starting to play the clay mridanga, the actual mridanga, for the very first time on American soil, and you can see the vibrations of that has already struck everybody and kind of transported them to the spiritual world, as Mukunda Maharaj here was mentioning yesterday, that it was almost like the drum was like a long lost friend to Srila Prabhupada, and Swamiji playing that drum was the talk of the community. So now they know what Kirtan was, how it was supposed to sound, and what it was really like. Okay, so we'll continue from here, this paragraph. Anybody would like to read today? If not, then I'll continue. Okay, so let me continue. Prabhupada was the center of attraction. Even his age and dress made him prominent. Whereas the others in the park were mostly young people dressed in denims or various hippie costumes, Prabhupada was 70 and distinctly dressed in saffron robes. And the way the devotees had all cheered and bowed before him and were now looking at him so lovingly caused onlookers to regard him with curiosity and respect. As soon as he had sat down, some young children had gathered in close to him. He had smiled at them, deftly playing the mridanga, enthralling and entertaining them with his playing. Govinda Dasi. With Swamiji's arrival, there was a mastery and an authority about the whole Kirtan that was absent before. We were no longer kids in San Francisco chanting Hare Krishna. Now we had historical depth and meaning. Now the Kirtan had credentials. His presence established the ancient historical quality of the chanting. When Swamiji came, the whole disciplic succession came. After an hour of chanting, Prabhupada stopped the Kirtan and addressed the crowd. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the sound vibration, and it is to be understood that the sound vibration is transcendental. And because it is transcendental vibration, therefore it appeals to everyone, even without understanding the language of the sound. This is the beauty. Even children respond to it. After speaking 5 minutes, Prabhupada began the kirtan again. One woman with long, uncombed red hair began dancing back and forth and chanting, her baby in her arms. A man and woman sitting side by side played together on the heads of a pair of bongos. Subala, in tight corduroy pants and with a flowing white shirt, danced in a semblance of the step Swamiji had shown him, although Subala looked somewhat like an American Indian dancer. A little girl, no more than 4 years old, sat cross-legged, played kartals, and chanting seriously. A suave-looking fellow, wearing a vest and round sunglasses, played castanets against his palm. Ravindra Swarupa sat rocking back and forth as he played the drone on the harmonium. Beside him, Hayagriva chanted forcefully, his head and upper body lunging forward and back, his long hair and beard jutting out wildly, while nearby a girl stood with her right arm around one boy and her left arm around another, all three of them swaying back and forth, singing with peaceful, blissful smiles, enjoying the chanting and the sunshine. One girl sat silently meditating, while beside her a girl danced provocatively, and a 5-year-old beside the dancing girl played with 2 balloons. Prabhupada set his mridanga aside and stood, playing kartals and swaying among the dancers, his feet moving in a stately measure. A big black man danced nearby, facing his white girlfriend, both of them moving as if they were at the Avalon. The girl shook her body and head in wild abandon, and her long straight hair completely covered her face. Bright blonde Nandarani stood on Prabhupada's right, playing kartals. Sometimes Prabhupada stopped singing and simply observed the scene, his mouth closed in a stern yet sublimely tolerant expression. Some of the young people joined hands, forming a circle, and began to dance around and around in front of the Swamiji. Then they encircled him, and as he looked on, still swaying and now clapping solemnly, they danced around him hand in hand, jumping and wriggling and chanting Hare Krishna. The soft pink hue of his khadi robes contrasting with the white dress of the hippies. Swamiji looked unusual and wonderful, watching and solemnly sanctioning the Kirtan performance. The dancing was free form and sensuous, but that was the way these young people expressed their feelings through their bodies. They bounced and bounded into the air. Sometimes the circle of dancers would break and become a single line, weaving in and out among the people sitting on the grass, in and out among the silk flags. A muscular boy held the hand of a girl wearing long dark braids and a black headband in American Indian style. At the end of the line, a boy held a girl's hand with his left hand, while with his right he held a wooden recorder to his mouth and tooted as he weaved in and out of the crowd. Prabhupada became tired and sat beside the brass bottomed timpani. Singing and playing kartals, he sat grave and straight like an ancient sage. Nearby, a blonde woman sat in yogic posture, bending her body forward until her forehead touched the ground again and again, in supplication or exhibition. Another girl stretched out her hands imploringly in a mixed expression of inner feelings, physical and spiritual, while her golden earrings jangled. A Mexican in a checkered shirt beat a tom tom. A white sheep dog wandered from person to person. Swamiji looked kind and amused. The hippies found him beautiful. He remained gentlemanly, aloof amid the twisting, shaking, rocking, dancing young people. Amid their most sensual movements, he appeared not at all like them, for he moved in a stately, elderly way. As he surveyed the activities in the meadow, he seemed deeply pleased to see the ring of dancers singing all around him, chanting Hare Krishna. Although the enthusiasm of these hippies was often wild and sensual, the gathering assumed a wholesome sweetness due to the chanting of Hare Krishna. For Swamiji, the main thing was that the chanting was going on and on. Dressed in his saffron cloth that seemed to change colors subtly in the fading afternoon sunlight, he watched in a kindly, fatherly way, not imposing any restraint, but simply inviting everyone to chant Hare Krishna. 25-year-old Linda Katz was walking the park when she heard the sound of the kirtan. In the crowd of hundreds of people gathered around the scene, Linda found it easy to go close without becoming conspicuous. She felt comfortable watching and even thought of joining the fun. Then she noticed the Swami leading the singing. She was startled, even a little frightened, having never before seen anyone so grave. He was striking. And the dances appeared beautiful to her. A girl with arms upraised and eyes closed seemed to be swinging like a tree in the wind. One of the men was tall and attractive, with golden curly hair, and Linda saw a boy she knew from college in New York, a crazy boy who always wore a shocking pink wool cap. Linda had arrived in San Francisco from New York only a few days ago. She had no plans except to study under a certain dance teacher and maybe get into some of the exciting things she had heard were going on in Haight Ashbury. As a graduate student in ancient Greek literature at Columbia University, Linda had become attracted to Socrates, who had lived and died for truth. But she hadn't found any of her professors to be at all like Socrates. She had envisioned herself living a life of truth by pursuing scholarship, but it had become dry. The ancient civilization of Greece was a dead idea, not a living truth. It didn't touch the heart. She had been aching for a new, exciting appearance, and she was ready to throw herself into San Francisco's hippie society. She had come here alone, giving up her fashionable clothes and donning bell bottoms and old shirts. But because she wanted to be serious, she felt awkward trying to fit in with the hippies. She felt that to belong, she was supposed to wipe the serious look off her face and just smile mindlessly. So, even in the society of San Francisco hippies, she remained unsatisfied and lost. The kirtan in the park was the most beautiful sight Linda had ever seen. The dancers were swaying back and forth, their arms raised against the open sky, and in the middle of the dance was a dark, gray haired wise person sitting and chanting. As she moved in closer, she began to sway with the devotees. Then she sat down and started chanting, wanting to find out what was going on. And after more than an hour of chanting, the elderly leader finally stopped the kirtan, and Linda began talking to some of the devotees. Although the Swami had slipped away, some of his followers had remained, handing out flyers and invitations to the Sunday love feast and picking up the timpani and the flags. One of them asked her to come with them to the temple. Linda found the devotees to be something like hippies, but not scruffy street people like most of the hippies she had met. They were attractive, not repellent. Madrasas and plants decorated their little storefront temple. When she stopped before a painting of people singing and dancing, one of the devotees said, "This is Lord Chaitanya and his associates." A devotee gave her some prasadam, and Linda left that night without meeting the Swami. The next day, however, at 7 in the morning, she returned, eager for another chance to see him. She thought he had noticed her at the park and might remember her. She had made a drawing of him, and she wanted to show him. That morning, as Prabhupada chanted prayers and led Kirtan, Linda didn't take her eyes off him, and when he asked everyone to chant Hare Krishna with him on beads, she excitedly accepted a strand from one of the devotees and tried to chant like him. Then he began reading the Sanskrit words to begin his lecture, and Linda was captivated by the sound. If she were to continue with her graduate program in Greek, she would study Sanskrit next. So she listened with keen interest, proud that perhaps no one else in the room could understand as well as she. Later that same morning, she met Srila Prabhupada upstairs in his apartment. Linda. In the first conversation I had with him, Swamiji summed up Greek civilization for me in a couple of sentences. He explained that Srimad Bhagavatam was the source of stories like the Iliad and the Odyssey and was the source of Platonic philosophy. I was thrilled. Of course, I believed him. I knew that whatever he was speaking was the truth. There was no doubt in my mind. And he didn't discourage my love for Socrates. He told me that Socrates was actually a devotee in disguise. Then he began telling me the story of Krishna as the butter thief, and I said, "Oh, yes, I know that story. I saw a dance about Krishna as the butter thief." He was very pleased and he laughed. He said, "Oh, yes, you know?" This encounter with Swamiji was like meeting an old friend because I felt completely at home and protected, and I felt I had found what I was looking for. Here I could use my intelligence and ask the questions I had always wanted to ask in school. Prabhupada initiated Linda, giving her the name Leelavati. Seeing her eagerness to serve him personally, he decided to teach her to cook by having her prepare his lunch. He already had a little weekend cooking class in which he taught Janaki, Govindadasi, Nandarani, and others the art of cooking for Krishna. Now he invited Leelavati to come. He would walk back and forth in the small room, showing the girls how to knead dough, cook chapatis, measure spices in the right palm, and cut vegetables and cook them in ghee with masala. The foods were basic rice, chapatis, cauliflower with potatoes. But he wanted to teach the girls precisely how to cook. Mukunda. One day, just out of curiosity, I went in to witness Swamiji's cooking classes. So I came in and stood at the doorway to Swamiji's kitchen. The women were there learning how to cook, and Swamiji said to me, "What are you doing?" "Oh," I said, "I just came to see my wife." Then Swamiji said, "Are you going back to Godhead or back to wife?" Everyone was amused, and I realized I wasn't welcome, so I left. The incident made me reflect on Swamiji's seriousness. For one thing, I learned that I should not be so attached to my wife. And secondly, I learned that his relationship with the women and what he was teaching them was actually very sacred, not like sometimes frivolous association between husband and wife. Because he spent many hours in the kitchen teaching them, they were very inspired. Leelavati tended to be proud. Many of the devotees were not college graduates, and none of them were classical scholars. She sometimes typed for Swamiji, did his wash, or brought flowers to his room in the morning, and he had quickly chosen her to be his exclusive cook. After only a few days of cooking lessons, Swamiji had told her, "All right, you cook." And now he came in only occasionally to check on her. Once, when he saw her rolling chapatis, he said, "Oh, you have learned very nicely." Preparing Swamiji's meals just right, with the proper spicing, without burning anything, and on time, was a challenge. By the time Leelavati finished, she would be perspiring and even crying from tension. But when she brought in his lunch, he would ask her to bring an empty plate, and he would serve her portions from his own plate and invite her to eat with him. For the first few days, Leelavati made remarks about the wonderful taste of the prasadam, and Swamiji would smile or raise his eyebrows. But then she noticed that he never spoke while eating, but seemed to be concentrating intensely as he sat cross legged, bending his body over the plate of prasadam and eating with his right hand. One day on Ekadashi, Leelavati arrived late at Swamiji's apartment, thinking there would not be much cooking on a fast day. But when she entered the kitchen, she found Swamiji himself busily cooking. He was heating something while white in a skillet, vigorously stirring and scraping it from the bottom of the pan. "Oh," he said, "I was just wondering, where is that girl?" Leelavati was too shy to ask what Swamiji was doing, so she simply busied herself cutting vegetables. "Today is a fast day," she said, as if chiding Swamiji for cooking. "You have to understand," he replied. "In Krishna consciousness, a fast day means a feast day. We are offering this to Krishna. Lilavati continued to keep her distance from Swamiji's whitish, sticky-looking preparation until he completed it and placed it on the windowsill to cool. Later, it will harden, he said, and we can cut it and serve it. And with that, he turned and walked out of the kitchen. When Lilavati finished cooking and served Swamiji his Ekadashi lunch, he asked her to bring him some of that thing on the windowsill. He took a bite, seemed pleased, and asked Lilavati to call Mukunda and Janaki to taste it. Janaki took a bite and exclaimed, "It is wonderful, simply wonderful, incredible, what is this?" Turning to Lilavati, Swamiji asked, "What is in this preparation?" "I don't know, Swamiji," she said. "You don't know?" he replied. "You were standing right by me in the kitchen, and you don't remember?" Lilavati's face turned red. "Oh, Swamiji," Lilavati replied, "I was very busy. I just didn't see." "Oh, you are busy without intelligence," he replied, and he laughed for a long time, until Mukunda was also laughing. Lilavati felt even more humiliated. Swamiji asked Janaki if she could tell what was in the preparation. She couldn't, except that it was sweet. He then sent Lilavati downstairs to get Govindadasi and Gaurasundara. When they entered, Swamiji told Lilavati, "Go get some more of that simply wonderful thing." Again, this time in front of four devotees, Swamiji asked Lilavati, "So what is in this preparation?" And again she defended herself. She had been too busy to notice. And again he laughed until everyone was laughing with him. He then asked Govindadasi to taste the simply wonderful and say what was in it. Immediately she guessed sugar, butter, and powdered milk. Oh, Swamiji looked at Lilavati. She is an artist. She is intelligent. To Lilavati, the whole episode was a devastating ordeal. Only later did she understand that Swamiji had been trying to teach her humility. Hare Krishna. Okay, we pause here. Yes, wonderful lesson of humility. Uh, Guru literally means somebody who is heavy. In Sanskrit, when we read, it says Guru and Lagu. Lagu is short and Guru is heavy. And that is how a spiritual master is. Right. So here we saw how Lilavati Mataji was starting to feel very proud of herself, her studies, her educational qualifications, while in the midst of all these other happy devotees who were not very learned. And Prabhupada could see through, just like we see, Prabhupada can see through the soul, to the core of the soul, like we were saying yesterday. A guru who has these siddhis, they don't use these siddhis for themselves, but they use it in the Lord's service. And yes, Prabhupada, we have heard many stories from many of his disciples. Even our own Lalita Prasad Prabhu here in Cincinnati, he mentions how he was sitting in front of Prabhupada and chanting, and when Prabhupada looked at him, he almost felt like Prabhupada was going into the core of his heart, into the core of his soul, and he could see that vision. But so here Prabhupada can see, what's going on in their minds. Like we say, they can enter into the minds of others with those siddhis. But he could feel that. He could feel that, she was feeling that sense of pride, and he wanted to break that immediately, because humility is where everything starts in bhakti. Dainya Atma Nivedana Goptritve Varan. Like we say, Sharanagati starts with Dainyata, humility. And Mahaprabhu also says, only when we have humility, then we can chant the holy names constantly. So, many times, even once I remember, even in one of the class, my own Guru Maharaj, he was giving a class, I think it was in Detroit, and I feel, I had that sense of kind of pride, and I asked a question. I asked a question as if I knew everything. And Guru Maharaj looked at me and like he chided as if, it was as if like a thunderbolt struck me when he responded. So I remember that instance very, 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 very vividly, and I will remember for my life. But I remember how I knew that story in past time, and I was feeling very proud that I know this, and I asked a question, something I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I remember the mood that I had. And yes, the way Guru Maharaj responded was like cutting axe, straight on my head. So that is very, very that's what a guru does, and they can see through everything, what we are feeling, what we are thinking. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything from today's reading?
You have very well put that, Prabhuji. We all need that lesson in humility with a simply wonderful thing. There's so many things around us, and we do ask sometimes questions out of not seeking the answer, but trying to show that we know the answer. So that is the takeaway from today. It's a huge takeaway that I need to imbibe. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this wonderful reading today. Thank you.
Mataji. Anybody else would like to say anything? Anything that you liked or learned? Or any take-home lessons? And any your personal realizations, reflections from the past? I was also thinking yesterday, again, the series of coincidences continue. So yesterday reading the Price of Air chapter and reading about all these business transactions and these lawyers and attorneys. And I know some of you know about the story, what happened with our kids in Sadhu Sangha 3 years ago. And so we are dealing with the attorney case going on. And finally yesterday they came back and they said, no, everything was all right. The people who, from where we hired that taxi, or not the taxi, the rental car, Turo, they were not at fault, because the thing was discovered after a few days. And long story short, but I was just talking to Kamal Krishna Prabhu yesterday. Both of us were saying, so this is like Prabhupada was saying, this is the darkest of Kali Yuga, right? Everything is very evident, but it's like solar eclipse. The sun is shining bright on the case. Everything was their fault. They had put some candies which were laced with marijuana in the car, and the kids inadvertently ate it, and then they had to be hospitalized. And so everything is very crystal clear what happened, and they acknowledge all the facts, but still they say, oh no, as per the policy of the rental car, they had cleaned everything and they had given the car, and since those were discovered only after a few days, and we had not thrashed them away, they were not culpable, or they were not at fault. And so I was just reminded again of the attorneys and everything that was happening yesterday, the Price of Air, and how the attorneys in this world, who knows, they may be constrained with each other, and whatever has happened. But even despite everything being crystal clear, they left them hands free. So, but anyway, we decided to close that case yesterday, just like Prabhupada was saying. No point in taking this forward when we know nothing's going to happen, because they were saying that if we go further, it may take another year and a half, and then we may have to pay thousands of dollars out of our pocket if the judge doesn't agree. So anyway, we decided that, again, just going by what Srila Prabhupada was saying yesterday, probably it was just meant for us. But I was reminded how in this world, in this day and age, and how the world around us is operating. And of course, we are seeing all other things happening of restlessness and war, and it's just crazy outside. And we look around and see the news, what's going on in different parts of the world. Again, we can count our blessings, that we are blessed, that we are able to sit peacefully in our homes and able to chant and perform the 9 limbs of bhakti, come on Saturday, attend to Hari Katha, eat prasadam in the association of devotees. So this is really a really true blessing of the Lord. This is the mercy that comes, and we should not take this lightly. So when we have this opportunity and this mercy, we should take full opportunity of this. And like Prabhupada and Chaitanya Prabhu have been teaching us, we should chant at any moment, anything can happen. So as we have time, we should continue our chanting. Okay, thank you so much for your kind association as always. We'll end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Manchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hari.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Have a great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.